the people up here, if you know consumer, if you know retail, if you know scale, if you know what beautiful retail and D2C brands look like, all these folks don't need much of an introduction, but we're still gonna give them the space to make it happen. So can we start out real quick, guys? Just who are you and what do you do? Shawn, you wanna start us down there?
Sure, I'll get started. Good to see everybody. So my name is Shawn Darmody. I lead our snacks, beverages, candy and front of store impulse businesses at Target. I've been at Target for about 18 years across many different CPG businesses, so excited to be here today.
Thank you, brother.
Hi, I'm Brianna Bitton, and this is my brother, Bobby Bitton. We are the co-founders of O Positiv. We are a women's health company, and we specialize in supplements that take women through their first period, through pregnancy, menopause, sexual wellness, and we really work to destigmatize the taboos that have been surrounding women's health for forever, for as long as we can remember. So.
And I'm the brother, Bobby.
Yes,
nice
the supportive male ally. Yes.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
I'm Steven. I'm the co-founder of Poppi. We revolutionized soda for the next generation, took on Big Soda and showed them what's up.
That's right, baby. Showed it what's up, that's for sure. All right, so this panel is not about Poppi's near $2 billion acquisition to Pepsi, but there's a couple things I gotta ask before we jump in, brother, okay? So first off, how has your life changed since that acquisition? And number two, what's the first thing you bought afterwards?
What hasn't changed, I guess, since the acquisition? I think the biggest thing is I no longer have to work, but now I have the opportunity to decide what I want to work on. So that's been a big thing, and I think there's a lot of emotional baggage on choosing what you want to work on and what's next. I feel like I get that asked a lot. The
second mountain, baby.
Yeah, exactly. What is that mountain? The first thing that I bought myself, I'm actually quite boring. But we took a big celebration trip with my family, parents and kids, the whole thing. We spent a month in Europe, just threw caution to the wind and had a blast. And I bought myself this watch. Nice. And on the back of it, I engraved.
It's a Timex.
Yeah, Casio actually. But on the back of it, I engraved the date in which the money hit the bank account. So every time it's on my wrist, I get to see and be proud of what we built.
All right, I wasn't expecting to ask this, but mom and dad were on that trip? Your mom and dad?
Yeah.
What was it like hanging out? Where were you? You were in Italy?
We were in many places.
What's it like looking at your pops, who was probably like, dude, you're starting this like weird juice, sparkling water company.
Vinegar
company. And then recognizing kind of what you'd created and what you'd done. What's that experience like?
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps. It was. It
gives me goosebumps, man.
Yeah.
Thinking about looking across from my dad.
Yeah.
Over in Europe and hanging out.
Yeah, it was pretty special, for sure. Taking 15 people on a trip, we can have discussions on what that looks like, but. Being able to take my parents and celebrate with my family and just see how proud they were of me was something I'll never forget.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's great. I think many of us can envision that. So Poppi has built a generational modern soda brand. If you don't know Poppi, you probably don't work in the space or consume liquids. And then O Positiv is redefining the women's health movement. A lot of success up here. I mean, O Positiv, I don't think most people in here, I think probably most people know O Positiv. You don't actually know how big the business is. And they are crushing it, absolutely crushing it. But success is sometimes boring. I want to talk about mistakes. What were the biggest mistakes that you two have made, that you three, have made in building your brands, right? Brands that customers love.
There was a bunch.
Do you want me to go?
Go first, yeah.
So I think the main mistake that we realized at first was that we didn't really get what the power of our brand was. So we launched the first ever PMS gummy vitamin. That was our first product, and we really gained an authority in the women's health space. Then we had this great brand. Our second product was an immunity gummy called GTFO. Get the F off of germs, whatever. And you know what? It didn't work. We didn't give the customer what they wanted, and we realized that we needed to tap back into being dedicated to women's health and giving the customer what they wanted and what they desired. So our next product after that was our menopause product, which absolutely slayed and really further defined our brand in this women's health, working to destigmatize these horrible things that we all deal with, and we're all meant to just, oh, it's just a part of life. Like we really took the initiative to take that on.
Yeah, there's an interesting lesson in there that was, we built our first product, and it worked, and it was an amazing brand that people were resonating with. And we thought that anything we put under the brand would work, any product. It's people that are coming for the brand and they love the brand, which they loved, but it was missing this laser focus on product and why they connected to the brand in the first place, it was solving an unmet need. An immunity gummy was not solving an unmet need. That's not why they loved the brand. So you need to make more things of why they actually love the brand and connect to that. And when we refocused on that, that's when we kind of hit that second inflection point after your first kind of home run, which was a big deal. Yeah.
That customer connection and being so damn close to them, make sure you don't lose sight of that. Yeah. Steven, anything really? I want to hear some dumb stuff. Any really dumb things you did?
Yes, many dumb things. Jeff is in the audience. Jeff Rubenstein over here. He was president and chief of growth. He's amazing. This one might hit home for you. We were in these lovely things called sleeved cans. And I think, it was really impactful for a small period of time in the business, and the business just scaled and accelerated at such a pace that it kept us in those cans a lot longer. But I think it ultimately cost the business probably $15 or $20 million over the course of 18 months in increased cost of goods. And because of this decision, we got into all sorts of contracts that were, quite honestly, took us the entirety of the time to really sort of exit and renegotiate through Poppi. And so while it was great early on for brand building, it honestly, I don't think was ever necessary.
Yeah. Did you call out Jeff because he was highly involved in that decision?
Jeff and I were partners on this. We wanted to be not in sleeved cans. But yeah, you live and learn.
But it happened. It
Exactly.
happened. All right, we're gonna move and talk about creating massive retail success, because that's what this convo is all about. Shawn, when you speak to an emerging brand and the shelves that they want to be on most, Target is often number one, number two, or in very unique situations, number three, right? And the two brands up here and the three founders and entrepreneurs won your coveted Target Supplier of the Year award. How the hell did they? Yes.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Out of thousands of brands, how did they do that? How do you assess brands, and how do you give that award, and why were they deserving of it?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, first of all, congratulations. I mean, the obvious one is they absolutely crushed it, right? They disrupted their categories completely, and drove a ton of growth for the category. So not just their brands, but they just brought a total spark to the category. So it starts with that. That's the obvious one. And, it really always comes down to, we think, balance, right? It seems like when you get into a bigger retailer, that execution piece, it looks easy, from the outside looking in, but it's really hard. When you have brands like theirs that grow so fast, executing, actually staying in stock and having a reliable brand that people can find at a big retailer when it's turning so fast, that's really, really hard. And both of these companies did a phenomenal job of that during a period of growth that's really difficult. So that's one piece. At the end of the day, for us, though, at Target, what makes results really special at Target is when emerging brand, any company comes to us and they want to be a team together. They want to work with our merchants as part of their team. They don't come to us with everything fully baked, and they want to come up with new ideas. They want to use the expertise of the merchants who know their guests really, really well at Target, get to know the brands that much better, and say, well, what if we did this? And both of these companies did such a good job of that. They won because of it. They treated Target like a place to set a trend for their brand versus just a place to come and do transactions for the brand. And when you do that with us, cool things happen. So congratulations.
Which is really interwoven into your fabric. I mean, in terms of being a brand storyteller, right? Which is where Target separates. And they allowed you to help them tell their stories.
Yeah, and they don't have to do that. I mean, they've got a lot going on. And so our teams loved working with them. And when we can do that together, it's fun.
I love it. You think we have another Target Supplier of the Year in this room right now that nobody knows much about? Yeah, couple. I think there's at least one or two in here.
Awesome. We'll take it.
So, Stephen, we talked about your evolution with Target, right? This any partnership, it starts in one place, it goes somewhere else. The best partnerships, right? They ride the wave. Can you talk about your evolution in terms of where you started, where you ended up, and how that worked out?
Yeah, he said a lot of what I was going to say, so I don't have much more.
So you don't want to answer?
No, I'm gonna. That's a non-answer. But honestly, I think it really is. It's about partnership. It's not transactional, and I think where we won is we were trusting of you and accepting of that advice and willing to do things that weren't maybe necessarily the most comfortable or stretch the team thin or pulled us in different directions. Because it was something that you felt would be a win and something that your customer would want to see. But then when we came to you with crazy ideas, the same thing was reciprocated, right? And so it's this level of trust where we say, hey, you scratch my back, I'm going to scratch your back, or I'll bend in these ways and I'll bend in these ways just so we can build something super special. We started with 4 SKUs at 100 stores. And this is where I give Target credit because they quickly saw what we were doing. And now we're the leading brand defining this modern soda set. And now we've got 3 full shelves. And not only that, we had a crazy partnership where a soda brand had a swag collaboration with Target. Like, I mean, that's
soda in the apparel set.
That's unheard of. So cross-merchandising soda with apparel, it was next level. And I just don't think that these types of partnerships happen unless both parties are leaning in partnership and willing to bend for the other's benefit.
Do you remember what category you started out in? Were you in like sparkling water, or where did Poppi
enhanced
start?
water? Right?
Yeah, enhanced water.
You were enhanced water. Obviously, ended up in modern soda. I'm guessing velocity is much higher in modern soda. What's your recommendation to founders who are dealing with a retailer and they want to pull their product into a category that they don't think is necessarily best? Do they hold out until they get the perfect placement, or do they roll with it?
You roll with it. I think you say yes. You get the distribution and you figure it out. And I think the teams will see that you're hustling to make it happen and willing to do whatever it takes for that product to be successful. But the same thing happened it happens at retailers all over the place. But I think you say yes and make it work.
And you guys were great to do that. But just to be clear, we don't always get it right though either. So on our side, it's important for us to listen and, maybe we can test a couple different things as well. But, they rolled with it. But, all of a sudden we're in a different place in the store now too. So you got to evolve as well. And that's been a huge lift for the business as well. So we don't always get it right either. So I think that's an important back and forth as well.
Bobby, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say it's interesting because it's this leaning in is really important, right? Coming with a vision, but having the ability to mold it together is really critical. Like for us being a decently large D2C business, never going into retail before, and everything that we had before, we had education on a whole entire page. We could educate a consumer on these first-to-market products, and we were nervous coming to retail for the first time. How are we going to educate a consumer? And working with the Target team to create in-store displays or an end cap that actually shows how it goes through a life stage or why she actually needs this product, what it actually does, is critical. And for us, creating a category was really fun because we were in the intimate care. Like we're vitamins and supplements, but we were in intimate care, and we were able to create that category within there as a destination next to the tampons, next to the washes, that made sense of where she was looking for that destination. And now it's exciting because now we're expanding to other categories as well. Yeah.
I love it. I think it was one of you, it might have been Steve, it might have been Bobby, but you talked about, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I think it was for Steven, but I wanted to ask you, Bobby, I think so many brands come in and they just want they're like, oh, they just need this retailer to help me. Right? Instead of being like, what can I specifically do for these retailers are under threat too, right? I mean, they need assistance, they need sales, they're competing every which way in so many different ways. Bobby, how did you and Brianna and O Positiv go above and beyond for Target?
I think it was all about pointing our engine towards Target.
That's your entire your digital
we had
digital
our
engine.
Digital engine, right? When you're thinking about performance marketing, but also our content engine on TikTok and what people are talking about. And it was funny because Allison, when we were talking at the Target conference, was like, "Hey, I'm going to say this and I might get in trouble. Like, go film in Targets. Like, go take content in Targets, show where it is on shelf, educate the consumer where it is."
That policy changed that day after she
Did it?
said
Yeah,
that.
yeah, amazing. Yeah.
She
There
will
we go.
be
We're
so
making
happy
moves.
to know that.
Really?
That was huge.
Yeah. So
Literally that day.
Pointing the engine that you have, that you built, that you spend so much time on, specifically with a lot of direct-to-consumer brands, is it's your moment, it's your shot. You got to point and make it work there, and just direct it to it, which I think is really important.
Yeah, we actually did a campaign when we got confirmed that we were going to be in Target. Again, I don't know if we necessarily discussed this beforehand, but
We asked for forgiveness, not permission.
Exactly.
Sorry, Shawn.
We did a whole vitamins for your vagina campain. So all over LA.
I'm sorry, you can't say vagina on stage here.
I know. You'll take me out kicking and screaming. And it was so crazy. We did flyovers on the beach on Labor Day weekend in Miami and in LA. And we tacked on to the end of those planes, like vitamins for your vagina by O Positiv, now at Target. And so we really wanted to.
We did get some emails from Target after that.
Yeah, some positive and, maybe a little not.
But it worked.
But yeah, and I've gotten in trouble in a Target parking lot too. I got my dad's convertible and I was causing a scene in a Target parking lot, and so I'm very excited to know that now we can make content there. Yeah, it's all about committing to the partnership, and it's so lovely that Target is such a collaborative retailer and works with us to do that.
So y'all, I guess Allison and Poppi changed Target's policy on brands being able to film inside stores, which is awesome. It sounds like, Brianna, did you change any policies on advertising? I remember you getting banned, I think, for using the V word.
Yeah,
right?
so we actually have gotten in massive trouble, and it's been a collaborative effort with Meta. I mean, initially when we were advertising our vaginal probiotics, our ads got shut down because we couldn't use the word vagina.
On Meta, on Amazon, on TikTok.
As a D2C brand, that's impactful.
Oh yeah, and it just was such a testament to the impact that needed to be had, the change that needed to be made about the dialogue around women's health, but also those channels as well.
For sure.
Yeah. Charlie Munger was known for, saying something to the tune of, "I don't need to be that smart. I just try to not be dumb." So Shawn, what are on the Target side? What are some of the top mistakes you've seen brands that you guys had high expectations for make when coming into Target?
Yeah, great question. I mean, and I always like to answer a question like that just to be clear. When big mistakes are made at retail, like we have a hand in that as well. It is that partnership we've been talking about, and we don't get everything right.
These
either,
Midwestern
so.
leaders, they're such nice guys.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But so it's true though, and we've learned a lot. So some of the things we've learned in the recent years, the watch outs, I would say, and we were just talking about one of them. I think this idea that you come into a Target or whatever the retailer might be, you put a cool product on the shelf, and that's going to be what makes it for you. It's just not the case. Like the amount of work these brands do to build up a following, a loyalty, a passion with their consumers, coming into a big retailer with momentum. And then even once you're in, saying, we're not stepping back anymore. We're actually going to hit the gas more with what we do best. When brands just think hitting a big retailer is it, and the retailer can take it from there, that doesn't work well. The other piece of it, I'd say, is we all put a ton of effort into a launch, right? Everyone works really hard. That's important. It's a big splash moment. And you put so much effort into the launch. If you're not working on what chapter 2 is, chapter 3 is, like every day should be launch day for that first, at least year, but well beyond that. Yeah. You're going to do great velocities during a launch, but if it just all of a sudden dips all of a sudden and you don't have an act 2 ready to rock. So treating every day like launch day, I'd say, is another one, just to keep that momentum going and get to those velocities, those consistent velocities that you want. And then the final one I would just say, and we're all learning a lot about this in recent days, but obviously the macro influencer, the celebrity influencer, that's introduced a new power for brands to be able to do some really big sales right out of the gates. But a lot of other things still need to be true. So if you're just relying on that the product's not right, the team's not right, you can't operate, that's not going to go very far. At the same time, if you're going to go with that macro influencer or a celebrity, they have to be all in. It can't be launch and leave. Like, you got to be there all the time if that's what you're relying on. So I'd say those are 3 things that we've learned just in recent years, where even with great products and great brands, things can fizzle out fast without those things.
That macro influencer is a multiplier, but if you're multiplying in one of those is a 0 or less than a 1, you're in trouble. I love that. And you also talked, tying it back to what you spoke about in the beginning. I mean, these are legendary brands, right? But you still spoke up front to why they won Vendor Supplier of the Year, because of their operational excellence and ability to consistently deliver over time, right? Which is awesome. Bobby,
I would just say one last thing, because everyone can launch, but then, how do you keep that momentum going? It's tapping into what does that retailer do really well. So what these guys did such a great job is, it's like, so the launch was great, but then seasons are huge for us. So coming up with new innovation around seasons, tapping into our LTO template that we have. So just matching what you do next with the strengths of that retailer really helps.
and by the way, I mean, I know you didn't say this specifically, but this also might be a reason why brands should start off and go deep with one retailer. Maybe not start off with 3, because, man, I mean, in a small team that's not heavily funded in the early days, this is really hard to do for one retailer, let alone 3 or 4.
You said it, I didn't, but I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you should only focus on Target, nothing else. Bobby and Brianna, I mean, obviously, you just heard Shawn talk about, and him and I have spoken about how just the importance of social influence driving into retail, right? And that's like one of, if not one of the most important variables that you're weighing and bringing Target and a brand on shelf at Target. Bobby and Brianna, what are some of the unique things that you've done? I guess you talked a little bit about the airplane banners, but what else have you done online?
I think the biggest thing online was literally putting people in store. Like, that was the biggest game changer for us, and having content filmed in store, influencers going into store, pushing that on TikTok, where you think you can actually get the most either bang for your buck, or the chance that every piece of content that you make on that platform could go viral. Right? On Instagram, you're limited sometimes with the followers of that person or the followers of what you post. Like, any piece of content you make on TikTok has a opportunity to go viral. That is why we were excited to invest there, and we just put our energy on it and made content for that in store, and it was amazing. Yeah, really worked.
Steven, you've messed around a little bit here and there with celebrity and influencer. What has worked and what hasn't for Poppi?
I think there's really, I don't know. There's a couple of things. Size matters. Okay. It's got to be natural and authentic, both for the audience and for the celebrity or for the influencer. I think that there's got to be, like, from a content creation perspective, and then the last one is the team. And there's a couple of examples that we have here. We were really small. We had an opportunity to work with Jennifer Lopez. She's got a massive following. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. But we were a small brand.
Yeah, I mean, how many brands would be thrilled to be like,
yeah,
J-Lo is going to come and rep and influence for our product?
And she loved the brand, and she was a consumer of it, but it was just a mismatch. Poppi was really small. J-Lo is this massive, like, iconic global celebrity. We spent $250,000 on it, and it literally did nothing. And then we have someone like Olivia Munn, the way that she creates the content, it's more integration, it's very authentic. J-Lo was like Dolce & Gabbana underwear and like 10 other brands she was wearing while holding a Poppi. And Olivia Munn, she was much smaller, maybe 2 million followers. That was really great. Natural integration, the type of content she was creating was also the type of content that our audience wanted to see as well. And then on a bigger scale, we've got Alex Earl and Post Malone. And I would say it's probably a lot of the same thing. With Post Malone, our size of the brand and Post were good, but the type of content that he was making, very high gloss, not very sort of creator-centric, if you will. So very high gloss, very campaign-focused. And that was the way that his team was used to working. And so it's got to be a match all the way across the spectrum. Whereas with Alex Earl, she's digitally native. She makes her own content. She's engaging. Our community loved the content she was making. Her community loved it, and her team was just all in. And I think that you see the results of it. Alex Earl is everywhere, showing up at sororities for us, doing whatever she wants because it's good for both Poppi as a brand and for her as well. And Post, as much as I love Posty, like, it was very much a transactional sort of typical brand partnership that didn't really do much for us.
Do you call him Posty?
Yeah, I actually call him Austin. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting. You know, you think about these smaller brands as, you know, we got a lot of small and big brands here at Founderland. And you think about how many brands, smaller brands, would not jump at the chance of like a J-Lo. Being like, this is going to be defining, but that size of influencers got to match the size of your brand. It's that fit and alignment at every stage. Similar to an investor, you bring in a growth stage, late stage investor, you bring in a growth investment banker to lead your early stage deal. It fails, 99 times out of 100, right? So that fit and alignment through stage and constant iteration matters. All right. One, it's a little bit hot in here. Mainly because of these guests. Bobby, you're sweating. It's getting
I'm sweating.
Dude, it's getting me going. I'm getting fired up seeing you sweat. But one last one maybe piece of advice, either something that mattered to you or just for the brand founders in this room, from each of you.
Mine, I think, is just, it sounds corny, but just be passionate. Love what you do. And if your passion is behind this, it's going to succeed. There's no doubt. And just have faith in yourself, have faith in your brand, and go for it.
Is that passion or is that obsession?
A little of both, probably.
Yeah, a little.
Mine,
A healthy dose of both.
I think mine's just grit. I think it's pure grit. I think everything usually works out on a longer time horizon if you just keep going. And things in the moment might seem like the end of the world. And then you all of a sudden zoom out 3 months later and it's the best thing that happened to you. But if you gave up at that moment, it would have just been over. So it's just grit. It's just keep freaking getting up and you're going to, get there one day. For
Hell
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Be obsessed or fall in love with your mission. But I think one of the biggest things is don't chase revenue, chase relevance. Build a brand, and retailers will come running, and so will revenue.
Love it. Relevance over revenue. Hell yeah.
Yeah, all well said. I mean, I would just add it from a retailer perspective at the end is just, I always say, when your time does come to go into a big retailer or get into retail, be choiceful about it. Treat it like you're interviewing another person on your leadership team, another person on the board of directors. Speaking of fit, make sure it's the right fit. We should be great stewards of your brand and your brand strategy for the long term. So treat where you go with your retailer that same way.
Absolutely phenomenal. Well, Shawn, at Target, which you've been for almost 2 decades, thank you for your support of this ecosystem. I know it's what the retailer stands for. I know it's what you stand for. And to the 3 other legends on my right, thank you for hanging with us and for what you're building and inspiring everybody in this room. Let's put our hands together for these.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Shawn.
Thanks, Shawn.
Thank you for having us.